actually a funny story how I got into CRMs to begin with, because unbeknownst to me, when you become an independent artist, you have to learn marketing, just like any business.
This is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast, a podcast about Middle Tennessee business owners and professionals.
Yeah, mostly. As usual, yes, we're getting underway with another episode. Thank you, Mr. Matt Wilson from the Mostly Marketing Podcast for doing the big voiceover intro. This is the Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast, powered by Christian Brothers Automotive of Spring Hill. Go check those guys out. My friend Jason Miller over there, he's the proprietor, and they do a great job. Just had two cars oil changed yesterday. And yeah, man, their snack game is on point. It's also from the Muletown Bikes Studios here in Middle Tennessee. Check those guys out. They're on the square in Columbia. And if you want really helpful advice in terms of buying a bicycle or even an e-bike from Aventon, Vinny Tavares, he's been a guest on the show, and now they're a sponsor. Thank you very much. MuletownBikes.com on the square. And today, we're getting underway with a guest. We're going to be talking about organizational structures in business when it comes to especially all things CRM. If you're not familiar with the CRM, it's Customer Relation Management.
That's
is
right.
how it stands for, correct?
Customer relationship management. That's
Customer
correct.
relation. We got Irenka. Is it Irenka or Irenka?
It depends on what language you're speaking.
I'm going to say Irenka because I guess I speak American. Thanks for being on today.
Thank you for having me.
We kind of met you through an event recently over at eSpaces. And my business partner got to talking to you. Now we have your technology implemented in our business here at J Squared, the Allegra platform, which is like John probably told you, we've been trying to figure out like an intranet for our business. We wanted to make our own, but you kind of already did that. So
I did. I'm sorry I took that job from you.
I'm happy that you took the job. You can take the job from me all day long.
I'm sorry I saved you time.
That's right.
I apologize for phones.
But you're from Belgium originally?
Yes, that's
Right.
where I grew up. Yeah.
And tell me about that. How long were you there?
So actually, a funny story. I'm not actually Belgian. I'm half Czech, half American from Belgium.
Okay.
Which I don't, expect anybody to remember that. But yeah,
It's still a cool feature. Like you're a car. Oh my gosh.
Characteristic.
Characteristic.
Background. Yeah. So I was born in Czech Republic, but my parents relocated to Belgium when I was 1.5. So that's where I spent most of my childhood.
Till when?
And then I left in my 20s.
Right.
Yeah.
Came back here?
Well, I came back because I didn't.
Or you came here, rather.
Yeah. But yeah, so I first went to England, then I went to France, and then I came here.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
What were those experiences like, and why here eventually?
Well, funny story. So I actually went originally to England to study music technology because I was into music and I wanted to learn how to produce songs and all that stuff, the independent artist thing. And I had heard that Nashville had some of the top studios here while I was studying there, because the two cities you think of when you think of music, industry in Europe is LA and New York. Those are like the two top cities. So those were the top cities that I considered first when I decided to move here. But then my savings account disagreed with me. Right.
That tends to do that.
Savings account, said, let's just start with a more humble destination, So I Googled most affordable big city in the United States, and Indianapolis came in first.
Oh, gosh.
And I was like, what is in Indianapolis? Like, I have no clue, So I zoomed out. And, on the scale of the United States, when I zoomed out, I saw that Nashville wasn't too far, And I thought, I bet the cost of living would be like comparable. And at the time, though, because, they've definitely ramped things up here.
Oh, yeah. How long ago was
But
this?
that was in 2011.
Oh, yeah.
So you could get, a room for like $400, $450, whatever, a month. And I thought, okay, I could survive without having a job, a car, like, for a few months while I get situated. Cause I came here on a one-way flight, I didn't have any connections. So I needed
that was a burn the ships moment, man. One-way flight.
Leap of faith. Yep. I didn't even tell anybody because I knew they were going to try to stop me and call me crazy. It's like, I'm not even dealing with, any resistance. I have enough of my own. You don't need people's fears on top of your fears. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So, but funny story. So I was very torn because I wasn't talking about fear, that was definitely in the way. Like, how do I do this? So I flipped a coin. And I was in Paris at the time with some friends of mine. And, it was Paris on one side, staying in Paris, which is a cool city too, by the way. I recommend it,
Never been.
But yeah, definitely recommend Paris, one of my cities close to my heart. And then Nashville on the other side of the coin.
Right.
So
Paris or Nashville?
That was my two options.
Oh, wow. That's a big decision for a coin to make.
I know. So I laid it in the hands of the coin and I flipped it. And it landed on...
Obviously, Nashville, you're here. Yeah.
That's the funny story. It landed on Paris.
Oh, okay.
See, it's about to get more interesting. Yes. So people think I let the coin. So it landed on Paris. And I was, I thought, well, it's 50-50 chance that it lands on Paris or Nashville. So I'd be like, well, let me flip it again.
You really wanted to go to Nashville.
So I flipped the coin again. And guess what it landed on?
Paris.
Yes.
Yeah. The coin was telling you, dude, slow your roll, man.
And so I was like, can I cuss or no?
Yeah,
like,
if you want.
Damn coin. I don't know. English is not being my first language. I don't know what level of, words. Like
profanity?
Yes. I'm not very good estimating how profane something is.
I pretty much if someone what the F-bomb, I'll be like, we say the...
Anyway, but I was mad at the coin, basically, Right. So I flipped it again while I was in the air. In that split second, I realized that if I kept flipping it, hoping it lands on Nashville, the coin helped me see what was really in my heart, right. Taking out the fear. So that same day, I literally booked my flight. Because I was, but yeah, so actually I disobeyed the coin. See how rebellious I am?
Totally.
I did the
Damn
opposite.
Coin.
The coin was against me,
Right. The coin was, it didn't know what it was talking about. You've been here 14 years.
Yeah, it wasn't cooperating.
Yeah.
So, but it's a really interesting exercise to do that if you're torn, because flipping the coin will actually help you see what you really want. If you feel disappointed by what it lands on,
That's a good technique. Yeah, it's a good methodology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you're like, I kind of really want to do this. We had a similar situation when we moved from Connecticut. I was in radio at the time in my first radio station, about to make our big move. It was time. And we had an option to go from either Vegas or, my wife and my wife to be at the time. We had been raised around the Northeast, Connecticut, New York, that area. And the appeal of Vegas was very strong because it was like, hey, it's a big adventure. Mm-hmm. It's the desert. It's, it's kind of cool. It's the West Coast, blah, blah, blah. The other option was on Long Island. And it was WBAB. The benefit for that, the pro to that would have been like the proximity to New York City, which in radio at the time would be a desirable market to be in because that's where you got, recognition. It was like there's no further going in a large major market than New York. Mm-hmm. And, at WBAB, we were literally 20 minutes outside the city. Different market, though. But, didn't flip a coin. I just knew I wanted it to be Vegas. And Vegas showed us a lot of perspective.
That's good.
A lot of perspective. So you get here in 2011. Mm-hmm. Around that time, we're coming off the effects of a 100-year flood that happened in 2010.
Exactly, yeah.
We're still the nation's still reeling and the world's still reeling from the economic collapse that happened in 2008. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of things are starting to get a little traction around that time. So it's actually, you came in a good year.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, I was fresh off the boat.
So you get into music, I would assume.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I just knocked on doors, I just wanted to be a fly on the wall and do that whole internship of like seeing how records are made. Right. Because I'm all about like learning from, whatever somebody's strength is. I think you can learn from everybody.
Oh yeah.
So, so I did the whole independent artist, and that's actually a funny story how I got into CRMs to begin with, because unbeknownst to me, when you become an independent artist, you have to learn marketing, just like any business, which is not really your primary, it's like a byproduct of being in business, basically. Yeah. So like building your email list and, keeping in touch with your fans and, managing that relationship across platforms, all that.
Hi, I'm Jason Miller. I'm the owner of Christian Brothers Automotive here in Spring Hill, Tennessee. We fix cars here, both European and domestic, from simple oil changes to complete engine rebuilds and replacements. Most important thing, though, is while you're waiting, we've got the best snack game in town, and we invite you to make yourself at home and get to know us, and we treat you like family. We're located right across the street from Walmart on Highway 31 right here in Spring Hill. Let us know that you heard about us on this ad, and we'll give you 10% off your next oil change. So stop on in and see us in downtown Spring Hill. Do we even have a downtown in Spring Hill?
So from the independent artist aspect of things, that's how everything started to germinate and become what it is now. Or did you work for other companies? Like, how long did the independent artist thing go?
So and
when did you pivot?
Right. I've always been like the kind of all around creative type person. So, like the hardest two questions for me to answer when people ask me is like, where are you from? I'm like, what do you mean? Like where I live now, where, I was born, where I grew up, like, that sort of thing. And then what do you do? I'm like, well, what do you need? Yeah. What do you do? What do you need? Who goes first, because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself. Like I've done music, video production, web design, graphic design, dancing, like whatever creative, like you name it, basically. Right. So I worked for dance studios and I did web design on the side and all that stuff. I actually, funny story, coded my website from scratch. That's one of the first things I learned.
When was that?
Like 2012, right? HTML. Yeah, I just
so
got
you were
Nashville.
you were doing raw coding.
Yes.
Not like Microsoft front page.
No.
Because that's what I did.
No, I did the whole HTML, PHP, CSS, all of that stuff before I stumbled upon WordPress. Somebody saying, that thing, WordPress, exists. But yes.
Who'd have thunk that a blog website would have been like the backbone for so many websites? Like WordPress was for blogs at first.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's where you see the potential when you open, when you create something open source, where now suddenly people can build on top of your ecosystem and take in directions, adding like plugins and, whatnot. And yeah, like it can expand your vision and your reach for sure. So that's where I saw where now it's like, because everything was about websites and getting on a website, whatever. But now that's why I see like the focus of the business not being as much the website, which is the facade of your business, as much as the customer relationships and managing that.
Right.
And so that's why I wanted to move towards the CRM ecosystem, because really the website is just to capture people, but the heart of the business is to manage those relationships. Yeah. And that's where you really build the brand and the loyalty and everything through that. But, that's the web design background helped me with the design aspect of making it, intuitive and easy to use and all of that.
So did you realize you were kind of building another career, or are you just using these tools to promote yourself as the artist at that time? Right.
Well, so, I'm going to take a detour because how I came about to the CRM thing is actually through helping dance studios. So I mentioned I was working in dance studios and teaching wedding couples, and that's really sweet too, teaching them their wedding dance and all that stuff. And for that business that I was working with, they were using spreadsheets, and they had, anywhere from 120 to 200 leads at a time, so scrolling, that starts becoming a little hard to manage, who you called last, who called, who left a message, what you said, when you're supposed to call back, who has, and that was during COVID. So who has COVID, who doesn't have COVID and whatnot. And then like types of leads and everything. And so, me having been in that, by the way, if you came here, like you said, right after that economical crash, and the entertainment industry was the first one hit by streaming and, internet and, revenues completely shifting.
Dude, the entertainment industry has been slammed.
Exactly.
For the past 20 years.
Exactly.
25 years.
Exactly. Since CDs,
CDs went away. You had Napster.
MP3s.
Yeah.
Exactly. The whole streaming model took over that. So in order to be afloat, we had to be the first ones to learn the new technologies. We had to be the first ones to utilize monetizing social media and, building email lists, like all this stuff. Like other businesses, brick and mortar, whatever, they could, they're like a little behind there because they weren't as pressed to adapt to new technologies.
Right.
So I learned that whole online, presence game through that. And so when I was working with these small businesses, I didn't realize that they didn't know that. I didn't realize they didn't know the tools existed because I had been using them for a decade at that point, Right. So first of all, I showed them, hey, there's a more efficient way to to run this instead of like messaging people individually and copy pasting, templates.
Yellow legal pads.
Exactly. Because they had me call students in the middle of the day, like one at a time, to remind them of a group class. And I'm thinking, people don't answer their phone. Their voicemail box is full. It's not set up yet. Goodbye. Voicemail has not been set up. Goodbye. They don't listen to their voicemail, and plus they're busy, so people don't answer their phone like they used to.
Right.
And their own reason was just to get to know, just to know who was coming to the group class. And I thought, if you send them all a text at once, it's a yes or no question. Are you coming tonight to salsa? Yes or no? Right. It takes you 5 minutes. It takes them 2 minutes to respond. Done deal,
right.
So you can save easily 10 hours a week just on this mindless admin task. Yeah. So you can do that across the board. You automate all of these things that run more efficiently. Like you say, you have so much more time, and then you have more time to actually teach students or, generate revenue and other activities. So number one, they didn't know the tools existed. But then what I realized is when I showed them the tools were too intimidating and not intuitive enough to use. Mm-hmm. So that was the second obstacle. And so that's when I realized, whoa, there is actually here real potential, an opportunity to build something that is, because chances are, and no offense to any tango instructors out there, mm-hmm. but if your expertise is tango, maybe not the biggest geek on the planet, so it needed to be something that was not, that was accessible for non-tech savvy people,
right.
Because usually when you have a business teaching something, that's your expertise. That's what you spend your time doing.
That's what you're good at.
Exactly.
Yep.
So the technology needs to support you and not slow you down in that regard. So I originally thought I was going to build automations, like that for other dance studios and other companies, because I was like, wow, automations, it's still a buzzword right now, automation. Who doesn't want to automate, half their admin tasks a day and free up their time? So there's a huge shift towards automations, but building it on a platform that is more, accessible, where people can do it themselves. They don't have to hire someone to create it. That was the biggest incentive that I saw.
Right.
And that's where I realized I could have my own platform, and that way, I have more control of the user experience.
Well, and you speak the language of the dance studios too. That helped.
Exactly.
Yeah. So did you start out with that kind of a niche, dance studios, artistic creative studios, that kind of a thing? in the beginning?
Yeah, so that's where that's, who I had created for originally, but as you know, when you start a business, you just like pivot, right? You put yourself out there and then opportunities come. So actually my first client was a horse riding business in Puerto Rico.
Really?
Yes.
Odd.
I know. I met her through some business program, that I was like a part of to grow your business, and learn how to set up your business, whatever. And she's part of my cohort or whatever. And we were kind of like giving each other feedback, type your thing. And unbeknownst to me, she actually was interested in my product. So that's how I got started.
Was this Allegra at the time, or was it pre everything that you're doing now?
No, it was Allegra.
Was it?
Yeah. But I was at the beginning stages of like figuring out my plans and, my.
What were you doing in the meantime to make a living?
Well, I was working at the dance studio at the time. And then, and then I branched out on my own. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Because I know that you looking at other things, you did have like an artist page. Mm-hmm. Do you talk about that much, or do you want to talk a little bit? What was the artistry about? Was it singing? Was it mostly dancing? Or
singing. So songwriting. That's what I originally came here to do.
Right.
So I did that. I toured. I actually played across 20 states.
Nice.
States. Yep. All the way to Canada. And
who'd you tour with?
Sorry?
Who'd you tour with?
By myself.
Really? Good for you.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I came here on a one-way flight, by myself, like
just
a big girl.
Just making it happen. Yeah.
Exactly. Only live once, right?
Exactly.
So I just, on some of the things I would bring a roadie or, a friend to, because, it gets lonely to set up everything and tear down by yourself.
What kind of venues would you perform at?
All sorts of venues, from like bars, coffee shops, small, medium size audiences, festivals.
And what style was it? Electronic music? What kind of music?
I like to call it alternative pop because you can really fit a lot under that umbrella.
Yeah.
Alternative because, I'm a little bit off the beaten path, I would say, When people ask me what music I play, I'd say anything but Americana, country, and bluegrass. And they're like, what are you doing here?
It's a very diverse musical community here for sure.
Yeah.
Very diverse. What is it? What do you play? What other instruments?
So piano was my original piano. I was trained classical piano. So that was a whole other thing I needed to teach myself is to play and sing at the same time. Because believe me or not, that's not the same as playing Beethoven. Oh,
that's drumming and singing.
I know, right?
Because I'm a drummer. And, I could sing Sad But True by Metallica and play. That's about it. Everything anything else, if I'm just woodshedding upstairs and I start singing, it'll totally throw me off.
I know, right? Yeah. So that was a whole other, neuroplasticity I had to, reprogram in my brain. But then I realized quickly that it was not very convenient to travel with an 88 key keyboard.
Oh gosh. Well, like an actual piano or just a keyboard?
No, an 88 key keyboard. Yeah.
Like electric?
Yes.
Okay,
yes. No, I didn't put my grand piano in my backpack.
My brother had he's a piano player as well. He's been playing since he's 5 years old.
Yeah.
And back in the day when I used to help him out, he used to do bar gigs and stuff like that, provide background music for Christmas parties. Mm-hmm. Of course, come along, Jim, and help me out and never get paid. But this thing was like carrying around a coffin. I mean, it was...
I know.
Gargantuan. And he's like, well, I like the full weighted keys. I'm like, yeah, but it weighs like 800,000 pounds, dude.
Well,
that was forklift.
That was one of the decisive factors why I bought the piano that I bought because at the time it said that it was the lightest.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm down to build my biceps a little bit, but I didn't want to be like end up super. But hey, it saved me on gym memberships for sure, hauling that thing around.
That is true.
And people are like, how do you stay in shape? I'm like, did you see my keyboard?
Yeah, carrying all the scrap around.
Yeah.
So you get out of, so you're coming back here, you pivot, you're in this full time now with Allegra, correct?
Yes.
Is there anything else that you're doing?
Well, I keep my music a little bit, I play like retirement centers and little private, once, like I do usually a Christmas concert because I sing that, I sing Christmas carols in 4 languages.
Nice.
So I do like a Christmas Around the World show, where I talk about stories, how other cultures celebrate Christmas, because at the end of the day, it's about the values of getting together and family and, rejoicing, but no matter how we express that, whatever food we eat, whatever traditions, whether you open the gifts on, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day or whatever, it's that brings us together. So I love that message of unity, across the multicultural aspect.
Nice.
But yeah.
Very cool. You're still doing that this year coming up? Yeah, do you publish a calendar?
I'm thinking about it. So let's see if your audience votes for it,
Sure. If you want to vote for it,
let us know if you're interested in the multicultural Christmas. Are you interested?
It's piqued my curiosity. Just figuring out a venue for you to get in front of people.
That's true. Yes.
Because one of the podcasts I produce is with 4 songwriters. Okay. 2 of which they do a lot of songwriter shows. They talk about the songs they wrote. They wrote some big hits and stuff like that. So it's always fun to watch them sing. Hearing it how, there's one thing hearing it how the artist sings it, and then hearing it how they intended to sing it.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. I find that curious. So
I do too.
But I think having something like that, I'd be curious to see, how other cultures celebrate. Absolutely. Probably not when I was 15, but at 50, sure.
You've matured a bit.
Yeah, just a bit. I have an appreciation for history.
Opened your mind to the rest of the world.
Oh, I haven't done that.
Okay. That's right. You haven't been to Belgium yet,
right? Nope. I haven't been to Europe.
Have you drunk Belgian beer?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that counts
look at me
bit.
For crying out loud. The
Belgian chocolate?
There's a podcast I do called the Ales and Tales. You see the coasters in front of you. And we do beer sampling and tastings and stuff like that. And sometimes, we get a Belgian ale or something like that. And they're good.
Have you had Chimay?
That rings a bell. The thing I'm bad at with the Ales and Tales podcast and that podcast is remembering, and I need to do a better job. It's like I need a CRM for that alone, is taking notes on the beers that I liked. And I actually, in my notes app.
So BRM. Beer relationship management.
Beer relationship management. That's good.
Manage your relationships with beer, huh?
I found that I'm a huge IPA fan.
You'll be able to add tags, It'll be like
true.
A tag, Belgian beer,
That is very true.
Then you can
I like Belgian beer. I'm more than positive we must, based on the name you just said. I'm like, that sounds really familiar. I'm pretty sure we probably had it. But my other co-host on the podcast will be able to refer.
Does your garage door sound like this? If it does, it's screaming for help. Call Incredible Doors, 931-348-DOOR. We're making garage doors in Murray and Williamson counties work better and sound better. We just make them incredible again. Go to IncredibleDoors.com or call 931-348-DOOR. Follow us on Facebook for specials on maintenance visits, keypads, and other items. 931-348-DOOR. IncredibleDoors.com.
What are the big plans? You started setting it up as a business, and you're also in the competitive landscape. You're up against the Salesforces, the Zohos. I'm not even sure if Zoho is still a thing.
It is.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen them advertise as much. We used it 9 years ago, but it was about like any other CRM. I used in the car business eLeads, which CRM is about as good as, it's only as good as what you feed it, and continuously using it and making it a part of your day, habitual, those kinds of things.
Right.
And that was my first experience ever having to use a CRM was eLeads.
Unfortunately, we can't download your thoughts yet.
No, we can't. Not yet. AI. But anyway,
I'm working on the manifesting, version of that.
just be nice to the bots. Be nice to AI. I mean, I think they're going to remember who said please and thank you.
We'll have to filter out some of those thoughts. Some of those thoughts are like in the notes. Oh, really?
But that was like the virtue of taking notes with every interaction, especially in the car business, because you were getting 4 or 5 exposures, ups a day, if you will, at bats.
Yeah.
And the management at one dealership would just rake you across the coals because where are your notes? Oh, I forgot my notes. And it wasn't for them. It was for them, but it was also for you. Like, this is how you build your customer list. You can't remember all this stuff, all the little details. You can put birthdays in there. You can put little, kids' names, certain things that they liked, what they didn't like, what their budgets are, all that stuff.
Exactly.
And after a while, it became like another organ. It was almost like having your Starbucks. You had to have, I need my CRM.
Yeah. It's the brains of your business.
Yeah. So that was the only exposure I really had to a CRM, other than we tried with Zoho, and we were starting a business at the time and coming up with all the processes. But getting into what you're doing, it's a lot more than just a CRM. A lot more. It's a process driven. How did you approach it competitively? Because you got some heavyweights to contend with, right? Well established,
yes.
Publicly traded. What was your approach on that when it came time?
Well, a lot of those that you mentioned, Salesforce, particular HubSpot, they're great. They got, wonderful functionality, whatever, but they were designed with enterprises in mind.
Right.
So that's where they started. You go on their page and it's like Operations Hub and Sales Hub, whatever. I mean, yeah, if you have a team of 50 and you can start, putting people in hubs, but when you start a business, you're all the hubs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so even though it's true, they have the same functionality in this day and age, the companies that win are those that focus on the user experience. Mm-hmm. It's the race to the one that has the easiest user experience, the best marketing, And so that's what I was going to focus on, because I don't believe it's going to be hard for you to outwork someone else, but you can differentiate yourself with being original, and taking an angle that not everybody is taking. So while everybody else is spending their dollar money on adding more functionality, more bells and whistles, more AI, whatever, I'm going to spend my time focusing on the user experience to make it actually accessible. That makes sense? Because my example that I like to say is that, what good is an airplane if you don't have a pilot?
Right.
I don't care if the airplane is free. I'll still take the bicycle. I don't want to crash. I don't even know how to take it off the land. So, people just like cars, everything else, when it comes to technology, if you don't make it accessible with a start and stop button and easy wins, it's off-putting. And unless you are in a big company that they force you to use a CRM, like your sales lead, and they will, factor in training time, and put you through that learning curve. Yeah. If the learning curve is too steep, it actually decreases your productivity in the beginning.
Because you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Spend the time to figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's in the beginning, it slows down your productivity. It's that's why they prefer the spreadsheet, because they get it done faster, even though the CRM is more powerful at the end of the day. They get it done faster in a spreadsheet than trying to figure out the CRM. So right. I thought if I lower the learning curve, then I have a point of access.
Where did you go to school and everything? Did you go to college?
I did.
Did you?
Yes.
In Belgium?
Yes.
What kind of degree?
Architectural engineering.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is. You're not talking about low level stuff here. This is, I've been in your ecosystem now for about a week, and I'm still trying to figure out, and it is for the, the aging brain, to spend the time to figure something out is daunting. Mm-hmm. It's been a lot easier than I anticipated. There's a couple of things that we have questions on, which are to be expected. Mm-hmm. It's almost like when I used video editors. I became very proficient at one particular video editing software since 1999 called Vegas. It's right behind me.
Yeah.
And over the years, Vegas was always proprietary or for a PC only. They never made Vegas for Mac, much to their detriment. I don't know why, but I've tried, Final Cut, Premiere, all those things. I get to the point where I'm done. There's way too many steps. I'm missing something here. I need somebody to sit down alongside. That's the kind of learner I am. Just show me how to make it do this. This is how I work. However you can get it to do what that, can it do like all these things that Vegas has done so well at making so making it so user-friendly and intuitive. None of these other programs did because they're so video-minded that, like, guys, it doesn't have to be this complicated. Why?
Look at Canva versus Adobe Photoshop.
Right.
I mean, Adobe, they had the monopoly, and then comes this Canva thing that just because it's more user friendly, even though technically speaking, Photoshop has more professional suite of features.
Right.
They still appeal to the person who's just trying to do something simple, who's not trying to become a professional web designer or graphic designer.
But do you think that, even the people that are adept at the Photoshops look at a Canva and go, and like, maybe it's a point of pride and they're like, I don't really want to admit that I use Canva, but my goodness, it is more efficient. Mm-hmm. There's only so many things, if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of editing a photograph or a logo or whatever, Photoshop. Yeah. I've used Photoshop. Again, like all the Adobe suite of products are just extraordinarily overcomplicated and they don't need to be. And I don't know why that is. It's like, just look at what Vegas, do what Vegas is doing. Like literally, just for example, taking two events, a video event on a timeline. And if I want to fade them together and crossfade them, I literally just click it and smash it into the other one and it automatically crossfades.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You can't do that in Premiere. At least not that I know of. You can't do that in Final Cut.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That sort of attention to detail to the user experience overall, like it compounds, all those micro frustrations at the end of the day. I mean, that's where you like end up wanting to bang your head against the wall, wanted to pick up the phone and try to call the developer and tell them, why didn't you? So that's what I'm talking about. And that's where I feel like the most important focus is not adding more bells and whistles, not adding more seat warmers, or to take the analogy of the car, but just making it easier to, drive, automatic cars versus
it's funny with Mercedes, when I sold Mercedes, they had a lot of really cool features and technology, but they had redundancy, especially with access. It was interesting because in the infotainment system, and they called it the command with one M, Germans. And they had a little bit of a joystick in the center console so you can control the screen. It wasn't really a cursor or anything like at the time, at least when we sold it. But you could also hit direct access buttons at your fingertips because obviously you're driving and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I appreciate that because somebody had to think of, let's just not make one way to access this thing and have user input. Mm-hmm. Let's make it multiple ways. And it's like, ooh, you're kind of thinking in the same direction as well. But I mean, in terms of the Allegra product, there's still room for improvement, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like you take any iOS, any OS, they keep updating, pushing updates. Browsers update, So it's like the life of software is just update, especially when it comes to protecting data.
You're 3-4 years into developing this. Now you're just 2 years.
Yeah.
So you're basically just now kind of getting it out there into the marketplace, selling memberships, things of that nature. What have been some of your challenges?
Well, first of all, trying to figure out exactly what set of features make sense to put together. So that took me a while to, land on something that was like, okay, this makes sense to bundle together. Because like I said, I'm in the business of removing things, not adding things, because that's what, reduces the stress when you look at the screen and you don't see 90% of things you don't use.
Right.
To your point. So making sure that it was like, that's easier for you to order off a menu when there's like already a dish made with all the ingredients versus you having to handpick.
Yeah.
Because people they don't know what they need.
Right.
That's why you ask the server for a recommendation. What do you recommend?
Side jaunt here. Do you actually do that when you go out to restaurants?
What
do you recommend? Do you ask the server?
Yeah, I do, because sometimes those menus have like 5 pages, like, I know. It's like, okay, some like you just serve everything. And also sometimes these Asian places serve Italian food, in the buffet. Like what's a lasagna doing here? Like lasagna and French fries for what? The kid that didn't, that's complaining because there's only sushi. Like I don't understand.
Like one of those Super China buffets places, or
I know they have lasagna and fries. I was like, what?
It's funny because we actually do that as a challenge. My wife and I will go to a restaurant we've never been. What do you recommend? And the challenge is to take them up on it. Even if it's like, oh, I love the fish. I'm not a fish guy. And I'm like, okay, I'll have the fish.
Well, sometimes I want to hear, like, because sometimes they have some things that are not off the menu, like some specialties or seasonal or something like that.
Have you had In-N-Out Burger yet?
No.
Yeah, they're coming to town, as you know.
I don't think you can tell, but I am trying to limit fast food.
It's an interesting, I get that. And I think ultimately, at least once try it. They're coming here to Tennessee. They were a California staple, West Coast staple for decades. But their big thing was, their food is not traditional fast food. It's fast, but it's probably got better nutrients and composition and stuff like that than McDonald's or Burger King. Actually, Burger King's not bad. They make a good burger. Mm-hmm. With In-N-Out Burger, though, there's a secret menu that you have to be in the know.
Oh.
Because their menus are very simple.
Okay.
Very simple. And it's gorgeous. But you can tweak things. And if you can have other fun things. So it's very insiders type of edge that they've adapted over time.
So maybe I have to go with you to get the whole burger In-N-Out experience, with like a guide. Are you a certified burger In-N-Out guide?
No, not even by a stretch. Because I honestly don't get the appeal. Like everybody, like, oh, we got to go to California or Vegas, go to In-N-Out Burger. I'm going, okay, it's a burger. It's not bad. It's it's just like I don't know what everyone's raving about. Like Culver's, they're from Wisconsin up north. They got a good burger.
Yeah. They
got a really good burger.
That's kind of feeling like you wielding to the peer pressure to go to see the movie that everybody's talking about, be like, okay, I'll just go see it so I know what.
Right. That happened with The English Patient back in the day. Right. Everyone was raving about The English Patient.
That is a good movie, actually.
It is a good movie, but it's like, it's not bad. It's not, okay. I literally, whenever there's so much hype behind something, I'm always like, all right, it wasn't bad. I'm cool. No, except for the Marvel movies. I'm a big Marvel fan. So, but moving forward,
talking about the challenges
that you had,
deciding on the pricing and everything. Like that's, like I said, my background is creative. But slapping a price tag on something you create, that's very hard.
Right.
Because first of all, how much blood, sweat, and tears you put into it. So. If it were me, I'd just price everything at $1 million,
Right.
So we're like, all the pain that went behind it, but like, so trying to think of it from the other person who's like, I don't care how much time you spend on it. I want something that's affordable, and finding that middle ground of like, okay, still making it.
Because that's the other obstacle for a small business owner is some of these CRMs are just extravagantly priced.
Exactly.
Very expensive.
Exactly. So finding a middle ground, where you still honor the quality of your work,
right,
but also at a price point that is accessible to people
and fair for everybody.
Exactly, exactly. Make everybody happy, and so that's all about just going and talking to people and meeting the market and seeing where where they're comfortable and what they're currently paying, and that kind of conversation. So originally I was just telling John, like, I had 3 plans originally, and I decided to add a 4th one. Because I felt like there needed to be a middle ground between step 1 and 2, so I could add some of the features, but not like, somebody who doesn't need maybe 10 users because their business is not grown to that level,
right,
but they still need access to some of the features and like a stepping stone between. So that was like a decision I made. Another thing was definitely balancing the priorities of what to focus on, because when you start, and I was doing everything. So it's like, do I focus on the product development? Do I focus on the marketing? Do I focus on networking and talk, what do I put my energy in? That's like a question I have to answer every single day.
Right.
What's the best use of my time today? I'm the perfectionist type where it's like, it's never done, type thing. So I have to push myself, be like, it's done enough to present it. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's still things I'd like to tweak, but at some point you got to be like, okay, let's put it to market, let's release it. Let's get some people starting to use it so I can get feedback and then go back to the drawing board and that sort of thing. So it's an iterative process.
Do you use that as a tool in selling? Because I mean, you're appealing to the small business owner, entrepreneurs, probably a lot of service companies, lawn companies, trade companies, electricians, plumbers. They'd probably be a perfect fit because a lot of them are one, maybe 2-man bands. You yourself are building your business. You have commonality with a lot of your people you're trying to appeal to. Do you use that in your conversations?
Give me an example.
Just, I myself am, Irenka am building this business right now. I get your pain because I'm doing all the things as well, building my business.
Exactly.
And this is what's helping me build my business. I get what you guys are going through. Is that something that you talk about? Or bring
Absolutely. Up? Because then, I can relate to them.
That's
right?
a big differentiator.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I know what a small business, and like I said, I was working with that small dance studio and other small businesses. So I know what it's like to have to wear all these hats and not just have, the sales team or the marketing team. And
see, a lot of my background was in radio with marketing. I have an ability to see the outside of people's bottles because they're typically inside of it, myself included. What ultimately is the problem that you solve is where I first start when I talk about marketing. And it helps me come up with what we call a positioning statement.
Yeah.
In your case, it's like, look, finally a CRM that's made for small business owners with them in mind. Something like that. It's like kind of marinating.
You nailed it. Okay. Right. You just stole it.
Right.
Yes. So,
but I mean, that's good. I mean, if you're describing it and I'm able to parrot it back without even being told. Perfect.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you nailed it. I say it's designed for small business owners in mind with design for speed and efficiency.
Right.
Because that's what it is at the end of the day. Whatever your craft is, that's what you want to get to because that's where you're making the money. Like
I would even call it like just easy. Just, what is the problem I'm really solving here is the last thing even with our lighting product for car wash owners, I said, the last thing you need to be worried about is our lights in your car wash. That's where we come in. We're taking the pain away. It's one less thing you have to worry about. You've got all these other things that are going on in your business, running a car wash, staffing, soap, chemicals, yada, making sure things are up, the upkeep and maintenance are being done on the equipment, is being done on the equipment. That is the last thing you need is to figure something else out.
Yes. One little thing off the plate.
Right.
Makes a difference.
But very cool, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy the conversation.
Absolutely. Any other tricky questions for me?
I don't have any at the moment. I mean, it's like, it's, you've got fans here with us. So we want to make sure that everybody checks things out. It's getallegra.com. Is that where everyone goes?
Correct.
And you're basically right at the, you're just past getting this thing out into the market. You're starting to get it permeated out there and stuff like that. So stop me if I get this wrong. If you're a small business owner and you're listening and you want one of those very reasonably priced CRM that's got you in mind from a creator of this particular technology that just understands and empathizes where you are as a business owner, where, you're working all day and then you got more stuff to do at night and you got to do all this, blah, blah, blah. This is probably the best thing to look at this particular point in time. Did I get it right?
Yeah. I mean, the all-in-one solution is definitely a big selling point too. Adding to that because logging in between different platforms and making sure they all sync up, that your database syncs up across platforms and making sure this person has paid or whatever appointments. It's good to have everything managed in one place as well.
It's like a business spinal cord, right? Central nervous system.
Basically, yes. Yeah.
Painting these pictures as we talk.
I have to hire you for my marketing.
I don't know. Well, sure.
But yeah, I'm happy to show a demo, even if you're not ready to do the move quite yet. It's all about like seeing what's out there and so I'm happy to just show people around and answer their questions and get their feedback as well. And
where do you want it to be in 5 years?
Well, in 5 years, I like to have, you know how Google owns the search engine niche?
Mm-hmm.
I like to own the small business intuitive CRM niche.
Right.
Yeah, that's my goal.
I don't know if Google owns that niche anymore. I think it's ChatGPT.
That's true.
They've become like the search engine now.
That is true. Yeah, that's shifting. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, is Google too late? Like, can the mighty Google fall?
Well, they are actually some of the top people in integrating AI, Gemini, and they're integrating AI when you're writing emails and all that stuff. So
They integrate it, but ChatGPT has beaten everybody to the first in the mind position.
that's true.
You know, when it comes to AI, that stuff, a lot of people think of ChatGPT, and I'm sure that will change because it's the wild, wild west right now. And I think ultimately you're going to see similar with the internet, the advent of the internet. Think of all the different iterations of technology we've gone through. You know, it was AOL. That was people's first taste of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Access it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they were the first ISP, if it were, maybe. But then the whole advent of ISPs became a thing. You know, you had the local guys that set up server farms and stuff like that in these rooms and keep them cool for people. And they would sell memberships to access the internet. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, figure out a way, you know, and then Netscape became a browser and all this other stuff. So I got to wonder if ChatGPT is like kind of like in that echelon of notoriety. What's going to come after that?
Yeah, I wonder, but I think that like vocal assistants are going to become more and more prevalent too.
When they get it right. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Because how many times you're in the car and you're like, hey, you know, well, couldn't understand you. Forget it. I'll just text and drive.
I should try my French accent on there.
Well, there you go. Irenka, it's I know we've mentioned a last name, but we've never. It's like you're the one single word artist, like Prince.
Exactly, Madonna, Prince, Irenka. You got it.
And everything's at getallegra.com. Mm-hmm. People can reach out there, look at the product, try it on, get your questions answered, all that fun stuff. And of course, in the description, we'll keep all those things as well. And mmtbp.com.
And I'd like to also add, remember that if they're interested in the multicultural Christmas show, we need to know.
Here we go. Is there a website for that?
No, but just
reach out.
Just reach out. Engage with us. You know, we don't bite, right?
Right.
Do you?
Sometimes. If I'm paid enough.
Okay.
mmtbp.com like is the website.
VIP pricing.
VIP pricing. The Mostly Middle Tennessee Business Podcast. Irenka, always a fun conversation. Thanks for coming on. Thank you.